Hello, Mr. Hausler here. This is for Chapter 9, Angles in Pythagorean. This EO is EO 18, which is the Pythagorean Theorem. So we're going to solve these two problems using the Pythagorean Theorem, which does state that if I have a right triangle, side lengths A, B, and C, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So I'm going to use that to solve these problems. So in this case, A value is 5, so that's 5 squared. B value is 12, 12 squared, must be equal to C squared. So I can find that missing hypotenuse by using this equation. So 25 plus 144 is equal to C squared. 169 is equal to C squared. So I square some number, I land on 169. Well, I can do the inverse and square root. C is equal to the positive version of this, because this should be plus or minus if I was solving algebraically, but a minus version doesn't work for distance. So I actually just mean positive version of this. 169 squared is 13. And it's a distance, they don't have anything, but I have to say units. If they had meters, I would say 13 meters, but since they don't, I just say 13 units. I can actually solve it also if they give me the hypotenuse and a leg of the triangle. I can still use A, B, and C. I can do A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So my A squared is a 9. My B squared is still B squared. My C squared is a 15. So I have that going on. That would get me 81 plus B squared equals 225 squared. Or sorry, 225 when I do 15 squared. I'm going to subtract the 81, subtract the 81. Gets me down to B squared equals, what does that end up being? I got 4 right there. Carry that, oh, not carry that. 44. So I get a 144. B squared equals 144. Some number squared gets me 144. Some of you watching it might know it. If not, square root. B is equal to 12. Once again, I'd be looking for some units, but there aren't any, so I'm just going to say units. And I had 12, which is reasonable because this hypotenuse is always the longest side. So for me to get a 12, that's pretty reasonable. Same with over here, for me to get a 13 is reasonable because that has to be the longest side.